Over the past year, I've been perfecting the craft of recreating Star Wars in Minecraft. My designs have gotten bigger and longer and wider, and Architons, Acclimator, Venator, and then I accidentally recreated the entire Battle of Geonosis. But hey, that was fun! So in this video, I'm somehow raising the bar once more. We're tackling the incredible Battle of Kashyyyk. Why do I do this to myself? Let's start with the outline of the shore across this very mediocre 2000 block squared area. I'm using the Archeon plugin's Loft feature, the same tool I've used previously to make the sloping hulls of my largest ships. Just this time, the points I'm selecting are a lot more irregular. I fixed up these rough shapes using the Smooth tool from Axiom, a fancy building mod that basically turns creative mode into CAD software. Shout out to the engineering students watching, I promise I'm not trying to traumatize you. From the shoreline, I built up a river channel using Axiom's Elevation tool, leveled down the riverbed using the Slope tool, and built up its banks using the Weld feature. I've loosely divided the Battle of Kashyyyk into 3 components: terrain, which we're working on now, trees, especially the towering Wroshyr Mega Trees, and vehicles for both the Republic and CIS. Let's get some mountains going in the background. I used the Elevation tool with some rather intense parameters. They looked way too smooth at first, so I used an easy edit surface command to rockify each peak via noise wizardry. Utilizing my omnidirectional gradient wheel, I cooked up a project-wide palette that transitions all the way from the seafloor to the mountains. I then applied the latter section to the cliffs using a very simple looking easy edits texture command, the same technique used for Geonosis. I felt that the mountains were missing some vegetation when compared to the reference, so I tried out the easy edits surface shape scatterer. Imagine you have 2 nice balls, and you want to put spikes on them, for fun, I don't know. This command lets you completely customize the placement of a specified shape, using just a few flags, including size, density, and angle. And you don't have to place spikes, they can be polygons, leaf shapes, onions apparently, or anything that you can define using expressions. In this way, you save hours not having to place any blocks, but you lose hours, and I genuinely mean hours, to meticulously defining the perfect command. I got way too technical there, but evidently I love it, and if you're just here for the visuals, I think we can agree that the mountains turned out pretty neat. You're thinking what I'm thinking, right? There's just enough space there for a 1-to-1 Venator. I slightly tweaked the engine texturing of my design using the new Tough blocks, making the coloration more similar to the LEGO set. Please sponsor me, LEGO. I can't afford that as a student, but I want it. And I'll quickly introduce some returning staples of the channel, my classic Republic gunship design and my Juggernaut, updated with a new front section and a more accurate interior. Referring back to my palette, I textured the seafloor from sand to clay, covered up any awkward gaps with small stones, then brushed in some larger rocks. Then I actually gave the sea some water, quite essential, and added a noise pattern of kelp and seagrass for detail. On the beach, I continued the gradient from sand to moss, then textured the riverbed, and built up its water following the existing slope. To detail the grassland, I brushed in some purlin noise, before adding pockets of marsh for some future swampy areas. I think the scene is already shaping up really well. The droid invasion comes from the sea, so let's design some vehicles there, starting with the snail tank. I mean the NR-N99 Persuader-class droid enforcer. I love this guy's lantern eyes, they're funky but they work well. Dominating the sky, we'll have the droid gunships. This design turned out to be incredibly intricate and I'm very happy with it. The head shaping always reminds me of a mosquito though, which is rather terrifying. Inspired by this LEGO set, we have my design for a battle droid troop carrier. Nothing crazy here, but I did have a go at using armor stands to represent the B1s. And last but not least, we have my slightly upscaled dwarf spider droid that I use for Geonosis. We're gonna need a lot more than just one of each of these though. I thought I'd sneak in some tree building tips for you guys. Make sure to use a reference so that you don't have to go outside. Take advantage of shaping blocks like fence gates, trapdoors, stairs, and walls, and ensure they match up by color. Don't worry about matching materials. Have your branches come out in every direction so that your tree looks good from all angles. Add leaves at the tip of each branch, leaving lots of adjacent air gaps to quickly build up volume. Texture your leaves as if sunlight is hitting them from the top. And detail with fences, buttons, hanging roots, mushrooms, stained glass, candles, and potted plants. I ended up with about 12 tree designs of various morphologies, including some baby trees that basically just take advantage of the fact that walls and fences don't connect in order to get some distinguishable branches. These designs were inspired by my fellow bakery creator Cifro and his tutorial. If only I could thank him in person. He's behind me, isn't he?
Hey Tom, these trees look great.
Why, thank you.
But this is a Tom on Mars video, right?
Yeah.
So blow their minds.
You're right. Say you've got 360 blocks of height to work with. First layer twisting splines to build up the Mega Tree's trunk, before establishing the largest branches and blocking in some texture. Then assemble branchlet assets covering all angles, smooth, texture, and save them as Axiom blueprints for easy placement visualization. Absolutely cram the branches with said assets, then place a flat hollow boulder or two on the tip of each one. Remember my walls? Use that same scattering technique but with diagonal curled shapes for the leaves, then texture for sunlight. Repeat the entire process 3 more times for other Wroshyrs of different heights. Then take a second to evaluate your life choices up to this moment. Now copy, flip, and paste each tree to complete a canopy. I may be biased, but these are some of the best Mega Trees I've ever seen in this game, and they've definitely benefited from a solid, repeatable process. I am, however, never getting that time back. While we're up in the trees, we have 2 Wookiee vehicles to introduce. First, the Jet Catamaran, basically a repurposed fishing vessel, meaning it was fast but lacked weaponry. Second, the Ornithopter, a smaller twin-seated scout craft fitted with a rear-mounted laser cannon. Next up, an interesting debate. I put landing gear on my Venator, but it's not exactly canon. You see, there's a good argument that this Venator is just beached or floating, and the only time we really see Venators landed is in launch bays. The problem I faced was that I couldn't angle my pre-constructed Minecraft Venator to be beached, and I didn't like the idea of it floating, especially if the ramp was going to be down. Additionally, if you go out of bounds on the Battlefront 2 map, you can find hidden landing gear designs, which are what I ended up using as inspiration. But again, that's not really canon. So let me know what you think in the comments, or on my Discord server, which is also a great place for building advice if you need it. These trees look great, but they're kinda naked. To cover them up, I began work on some Wookiee structures, starting with this large acorn resembling a bird. Building circular assets seems tough, but I took advantage of the symmetry to speed up the process. The palette included dark and light browns to match the Wroshyr trunks, with contrasting cyans to highlight the shaping. Next up, I designed a lookout station, keeping to the same theme, smoothing out the shapes with walls and glass panes, and utilizing a nice wood gradient for the bottom. Then I built another balconied lookout structure at a slightly smaller scale, but with the same attention to detail. The Mega Trees were covered in these platforms that kind of resemble flat-topped mushrooms. This larger platform could hold a Republic gunship, with the smaller one being more decorational. I also designed a medium-sized platform that could be stacked together to create piers. Other important details included these industrial sci-fi pieces of equipment, as well as aerials for the upper branches. I completed the asset pack by adding some colored variants of the platforms and huts, and giving the house from the beginning a full interior.
Yo, Tom!
Hey, Rail!
Welcome to your house viewing!
Oh.
We got a cute seating area, a nice modern stove,
Okay.
a shrine, a comfortable bed,
Quite nice, actually.
and here's where you can store the severed heads of your enemies.
Cultural differences.
Oh, and it's bells included.
This one's not for me, but thanks for the tour. The main tree needed some custom work for the command center and its surrounding details, but after that, it was time to put those assets to use. Extra detailing involved these door designs, rings around the pier platforms, and fueling pipes for the parked vehicles. That's 1 giant tree down, 7 to go. All of my vehicles and maps can be found on my Patreon. From this project that includes the trees, assets, and the battle scene itself, available in the shop or through membership. But that's just scratching the surface of what I have to offer, including a whole bunch of 3 downloads. Thank you so much to my current patrons. With your continued support, I could feasibly make this my job. The canopy looks simply amazing now. Hopefully these Megatree recreations would make our favourite Wookiees proud. While not appearing in Episode 3, the Confederacy's multi-troop transport can be seen in the Battlefront 2 map, and since I like the vehicle's design and function, I decided it was worth adding. On the Republic side, we're just missing some of the smaller vehicles. First, the all-terrain attack pod, nicknamed the sniper tank for its long-range capabilities, allowing it to support infantry from the backlines. Then the all-terrain recon transport, which I think came out really well for such a small scale. And finally, the infantry support platform, also known as the Swamp Speeder, the perfect vehicle to navigate Kashyyyk's denser terrain. And speaking of dense terrain, it was finally time to paste in those smaller tree designs from before. Around the designated swamp areas, I focused on placing the mangrove-looking trees, and for the rest I made a conscious effort to position them on the darker parts of the grassland noise pattern, as if the trees were casting shadows downwards. Above the grass and moss blocks, I used a different noise pattern of short grass and ferns, and above the lighter blocks, I brushed in a cellular noise pattern of leaves to create bushes. And just like that, the whole scene was suddenly full of life. To juxtapose that, we needed some depth, so I began work on the defenses for the local battle. Then I placed the 8 turbo tanks deployed from the Venator's side hangar, followed by the smaller Republic vehicles across the beachfront. Just making their first landings on the shore, I positioned the invading CIS forces, with numerous droid gunships providing support from the air. To counter them, I pasted in the Wookiee craft and our beloved Republic gunships. And that completed this rather small, not at all time-consuming project. Let's turn up the music. If you think I did a decent job, subscribe, and let me know what you want to see next. Thanks for watching.